Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. All right, sorry I'm a little bit late here. You know, you got to sit through the intro thing, and my neck's really hurting today, so it took a little bit longer to get ready than normal. Good morning, Apol. Good morning, Ellen White. So we just had the non-farms payroll numbers come out, and we are moving mega big time towards the upside here. So, for U.S. non-farms payroll, we were expecting a reading of 240K, and we got 175. Interesting. Well, so 175 is not necessarily a terrible number, but it is a lot less than the expectation. And this is the first miss. This is the first miss in a very, very long time, and you know, ironically, the market loves it, right? Because that means less pressure on interest rates. I'm still concerned about the inflation numbers, so I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But that is a significant change for the market. Average earnings month over month, spot 2 versus spot 3, so that is also very, very good for them. And where is our, there we go, unemployment rate ticked up to 3.9% from 3.8%. So it's pretty much across the board a weaker labor market. Well, the honest numbers finally. I think that the way that this has been going, again, I don't think that they can fudge the numbers per se. What they can do is they can kind of set the model up in a certain way and, you know, have the revisions be a certain way. And so the revisions have been in a way to make it seem like the labor market is stronger than it maybe actually is. And now that system is kind of working against it and is, you know, giving us more down to earth numbers, because 170, I think they're saying that like 160,000 a month is like should be normal for the population size and all of those sorts of things, maybe a little bit higher than that now. So 170 is actually kind of just coming back to like normal growth. But what do we do with this for trading? Because that's such a big gap. We could probably scalp in this. You could probably get small little winners a bunch in through here, but it's awfully dangerous. So I think that for starters, I do not like trading the first 5-10 minutes of a non-farms anyways. So let's just kind of hold off on that and try and do a little bit more analysis here on the charts. First thing I want to point out, here's the 10-year treasury. Look at that change in the yield curve. Wow. Let's come over to volume profile. Okay, like yesterday, you were getting like decent steepening. Now you're really getting some steepening. Now, steepening tends to happen going into a recession. That doesn't necessarily mean that we are going into a recession, but it does suggest the economy is getting weaker. And you know what? Like what we're seeing, all of this is in line with all of the other numbers. Like we were getting these kind of signals from the PMIs and everything else. So this is like the first time in a while that I feel like all of the data makes sense, you know? So, all right, S&P 500. Oh, it looks like they're got almost to new highs for the week. Well, that's curious because, when you get a big jump like that, you know, it's often difficult to extend beyond the big jump because it creates such a massive liquidity hole behind you that you just kind of get sucked back into it. So when you're at a point that would maybe, trigger in some new highs and so forth, and you're just short of it, that kind of creates an interesting situation because it's possible for them to pull back and extend, but I think that the situation is as such that it will be a little bit harder for them to do so. So we'll see if they're able to make it past that. A lot of that will probably have to do with the dollar, which we'll pull up here in a bit. Okay, gold and silver. Are gold and silver taking off on this too, huh? Yeah, okay. I mean, that's a good move for silver, but gold is, or sorry, that was oil. This is oil. What am I thinking about? Oil is still kind of down here, is trying to jump out. Did it rise on that too? Not as big of a move in oil. Here's gold and silver. They're jumping up. Yeah. I mean, they're still in a little bit of a hole in gold and silver, though. That's not going to pull them out of it yet. Okay, here's copper. Copper's starting to look okay again. I mean, the longer-term trend in copper is just amazing, right? And then the dollar. Oh, yes. The dollar finally coming off of its high and lofty position down in the 105.5-ish area that they've been in all week, coming down to 104. They've still got a ways to go, and that's not actually that big of a move in the dollar yet, so I think that the dollar could probably continue to move. You're definitely seeing the Japanese yen move, though, or at the very least trying to achieve the levels that they had last week. And then we got the Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin likes that too. Bitcoin's been struggling this week, though. So I don't know if I'm going to be much use trading today, though. I was doing my workout yesterday, and the workout was, it was a little bit more of a recovery week, so I'm a little bit pissed about this. But the workout was like 2 power cleans and then 3 power jerks. The jerk is where you have the bar here on your shoulders and you jump and push it above your head. And something about the jerks just like stressed my traps out. And so I kind of got like a Charlie horse in my traps, and they're really sore. So I can move my neck. Okay. So it's not as bad as past times, but it is awfully tender. And it took a ibuprofen for me to fall asleep last night. It hurts. And so that is like just flaring off in the back of my mind and is extremely distracting to me. Then I also, I switched my contacts out because last night one of my contacts just like was like, oh, they're too old now. It's the beginning of the month. It's time to switch them. So like everything looks slightly more HD because I changed my contacts. So I'm just like a flurry of emotions, and then there's just like absolute sensory overload from the markets taking off as hard as they have from that non-farms number. This is one of the largest moves in non-farms we've had in a while, isn't it? Let's see here. We started out at 5105, so it's already a 50-point move. And that's already putting the RTY at 2%. Wowzer. And there is not a single asset on my market analyzer that is orange. They're all blue. It's all blue. Silver only up spot 0.09% though. That's a little disappointing for silver. Wheat is the biggest winner though at 2.53. I love the snatch and the cleaning jerk word. I prefer the snatch, but clean and jerk is a little rough because you get this big bar slamming down on your shoulders. And you know, you're supposed to try and make it gentle and everything, but I tend to be a little bit reckless and let it slam. So. I know, right? I don't think that Ellen intended that to sound like a dirty joke, but I thought that it was a dirty joke. CrossFitters, I'm not strong unless I hurl the weights at the ground. It is. Listen. Yeah, you know, let me tell you something. It's something that absolutely drives me crazy when like I'm on TikTok and there's fitness influencers. Is that the fitness stuff is the thing that has me convinced that the real secret to the TikTok algorithm is that it changes what kind of content to show you based on the time of day. It knows that if it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon to show me workout stuff because I'm working out. And then if it's like 11 o'clock at night, it tries to show you thirst traps because it thinks you must be lonely, right? But you go on TikTok and these guys, they'll be like, I'm doing super heavy squats, right? And they'll have somebody standing behind them, spotting them so that if they don't make it, they can kind of, you know, put their arms underneath of their armpits and help push them back up and all of this sort of stuff. No, just drop the weight off your back and let it crash to the ground. If you have bumper plates, the whole point of the bumper plates is so that you can drop them. It's the funnest part. Like, what is the point of doing heavy squats if you can, after your last rep, you know, do a war cry and throw the weights to the ground? You know, and intimidate everybody with how heavy those weights were. It's like you're defeating like the whole point. You use these spotters or like those, you know, they have those racks and they have those little, I don't know what you call them, bars that come out so that, you know, to catch the weight or whatever at the bottom. Yeah, that's great for you doing a bench press. That'll save your life when you're doing the bench press. But for squats, use bumper plates and just throw them to the ground, man. What's the point of going? No, you're comparing throwing weights to the ground that are designed and meant to be thrown to the ground with shooting somebody? What? How? Evil Knievel could not have made that leap, Uzi. It does kind of beg the question, though, if you want to intimidate people at the range. No, I don't think that you want to intimidate people, but you do want them to think that you're super cool. But I think all you can do there is just have the coolest weapon and the coolest gear, right? It's just so stupid as saying that throwing the weights around is intimidating. When I got a big guy, you got a big guy and he's doing a max squat and he's like up into the 200 kilos and he drops that 200 kilos to the ground. Oh my gosh. It like shakes the whole, it's just this thunder. I find it intimidating and it, but I find it exhilarating. I love it. I love to see it. Have you heard of the one nope. Sounds interesting, actually. If it's options, maybe that has something to do with camera or something. Oh my gosh, I got a little nan in here. Go away. sure that isn't the latent homosexual. Well, you know, there is this thing to like, you know, it was really interesting. I saw a person on TikTok and they were talking about pretty privilege. And they were like, male pretty privilege is different from female pretty privilege, right? And there's the pretty privilege that's like the girls like you, but there's also the pretty privilege that like the guys like you. There is definitely a thing to like, there's a guy and he's really fit and strong. The other guys tend to like him. Absolutely a thing. As long as he's not an a-hole. Then one or two guys I can remember from gym that just absolute jerk-offs. But usually the top lifter guy is super cool guy. Getting fit and strong is earned, I mean, I guess. You know, something that really bothers me about the fitness industry is, again, people look for social proof, right? And having a fit body is kind of that proof. Maybe it's not social proof, but I guess, you know, it's a type of proof. And so when if you're out there looking for who is a fitness influencer that I can follow, then I'm gonna go and try and find the best looking person that I can, right? But the reality is that so much of that is determined by genetics. Like I'm never gonna be like this hulking man unless I use like steroids or something. I'm just never going to be this hulking mass. I'm pretty fit. The other thing is that, you know, being really strong doesn't look strong to us, right? Like the bodybuilders, the reason that you get these bodybuilders, the way the reason bodybuilders look the way that they do and they get the huge muscles is because of the volume. The amount of work that they're doing and not actually the amount of weight that they're doing. So when you get these weightlifters, some of the best weightlifters you would never notice, especially they're wearing street clothes. You would never know that they were fit weightlifters. Of course, so you get to the Olympic level, those people are always crazy jacked, but it's probably because they're doing steroids, probably. Especially things like your forearms and stuff, you know, that those get super huge. It's usually steroids. So like, yeah, getting fit and strong is earned, but a lot of the influencers that you see out there, they're just young. Is all it is they're young and they got good genes. Okay, well, the dollar is kind of in its, you know, pullback period. We'll see if that's as far as it goes. The Treasury's certainly pulled back a decent amount. 109 even looks like a pretty decent benchmark area to compare things against. But that's a whole 16, you know, that's a whole half a handle above where we started. You know what this reminds me of, though, is that have you seen this whole social media thing about if you were alone in the woods, would you rather run into a strange man or a bear? And they asked this girl on the street and she's like, oh, I would rather run into the bear. Yeah, okay. That just tells me you live in the city. I get it. If you're in New York, you've never seen a bear before, maybe you would think that it would be better to run into a bear than to run into a strange man, okay? But if you live over here in the Intermountain West, where going camping and having to put all of your trash and everything in special bins that the bears can't get into because bears coming in is a real thing, there's no way that you would choose the bear. Coming face to face with a bear is like a permanently scarring, traumatizing experience. And of course, if you've been raped or assaulted or something like that, Okay, that's traumatizing. But just seeing the bear, just seeing a bear and being close to it and know that it could kill you, you know, is absolutely terrifying. You will learn things about yourself. You might, a lot of people completely frozen. They can't do anything. They can't act in that moment. It's terrifying. And I can't see how anybody that lives up here in the mountains would ever choose the bear over the man. I like Olympic to exercise my central. Yeah. I have a theory that, reflexes is a really major part of like esports. And so they would benefit from like doing Olympic lifting and kind of setting everything up to peak when like their finals are or whatever the deal is, right? You could use Olympic lifting to train the nervous system and get their reflexes to peak. Because when I'm peaking, my reflexes are faster. But I have to be careful because when I'm in that mode where I'm hypercompensated, my nervous system has hypercompensated, that is when I tend to make my biggest trading mistakes. It's like it just wants to trade, and it just wants to take on risks, and you end up doing dumb things. So I am a little bit more careful now, and like if I'm to that part in my cycle, I back off. Or as of late, because I haven't been doing competitions, I just kind of back off on that part of the cycle so that I don't go into that mode. But I think I will be doing it this cycle. I've been doing pretty good this cycle. I don't know if I don't think that my body is well suited to Olympic lifting. So if I was going to pick, like, what would be the best sport for me to both support my goals and that I would excel at, I don't know. Maybe it's running. Maybe if I could learn to run and get my feet to point straight and everything, maybe I could be a good runner. But I got into Olympic weightlifting and it does something to you, man. It's like if you don't do it or you miss a workout, you don't feel right. Your body demands it. It's like we're geared to lift heavy weights. We need to be doing that today, Seth. Or I'm gonna start complaining. Like if I go a week without squatting, my legs start to like feel sore. They start to. It's a weird feeling. As I'm getting going today, my traps still hurt. I think it's my traps. It might be the rhomboids, but I think it's my traps. But it's not bad. I think that I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be okay. So I can do my workout tomorrow. Saturday's important workout. So Saturdays are always important. No, it's not just it being your routine, man. Like, Olympic, so high intensity training and exercise that really pushes you towards the high twitch muscle fiber side of the spectrum really requires a lot of changes in your body to when you do it regularly. When you do it regularly, it changes your body. I mean, like the workouts are all set up to increase the amount of fast twitch muscle fiber compared to slow twitch muscle fiber, for instance. So like if you're an Olympic weightlifter, running a marathon tends to hurt your Olympic lifting performance, for instance. And so, like everything about the number of calories that your body wants to take in and all of these sorts of things, and like how long the muscles are and everything. So if you sit around for a week, it hurts. It's kind of like if you walked around all week like this, you know, it'll make your bicep feel sore. It's the same sort of a thing. If I don't exercise it, if I don't do the squats every week, it feels sore. And you'll go through like so like it's the worst like 2 weeks out, and then you kind of go through that for like a week, and then your body kind of goes back to its baseline. And then after about 2 months, then you really go back to like untrained. And you can go back up to, you know, normal within a week, but no one would quit doing it. Well, but that's the thing is most most Olympic weightlifters never stop. But the point is that it's like physically uncomfortable to stop. It will increase your testosterone greatly. I don't think that I'm like a low T individual. Okay, like that would be like less than normally you be supplemented, okay? But I'm probably like less than average, and then working out probably just gets me to like average. I don't remember. I've had it measured. Because both there was when we were trying to have kids and we were having problems, so they'd measured it then, and then sometimes it will get measured when I'm getting about once a year I'll do tests. It used to be every quarter now and then half a year, but there's like one test that they'll set me through at once a year where they'll test all of my vitamins levels and my hormone levels to see how my gut is doing, right? And I don't remember the numbers exactly or anything, but my recollection was that I was at the lower end of normal. But when I started weightlifting, this is crazy. Like, I had to get my ring resized. So it's not like I have a huge hand. I have pretty dainty female finger hands, to be honest with you. So can you imagine what it was like before I did weightlifting? You can see all of the calluses and stuff on my hands, though. The other thing was, one thing that happened to me, I remember I was in a meeting and I made an assertion about the way that a certain architectural decision should be made. And the coworker told me that I scared them. Like I came on too strong and they were afraid that, you know, I'm not, that to me was like, what? That I never thought that anybody in my life would perceive me in that way. But it was just like the weightlifting changed me so much, and I did not realize the change, even though I feel like it kind of just gets me on par to like what most people are, right? Like untrained, I'm probably like 140, 150 pounds. Like it's hard for me to be 150 pounds. And now trained, I'm like in the 160, 170 zone. Right, which is like average weight. But for me, that's like tons of muscle on. So changes you big time. And yes, increases your testosterone, probably gets me more into like what most men are. Of course, my problems are probably have to do with taking Adderall as a kid, right? Makes me wanna. Have you ever read these studies about how like how long it's been since you've had sex or however you want to put it, and like on like I think it's the 10th day or maybe it's the 15th day that like your testosterone levels will spike super hard, and then if nothing happens after that, they drop down to a lower baseline level. There's absolutely no, it's not. No, it's 15 days. Okay, so the answer is no. You haven't read those studies. I think it's 15 days. This is like after 15 days, your testosterone levels will spike. And then if you don't do anything, it will go down to a lower baseline level. So you can kind of factor that into your, what do we call it? Your plan. Oh, that would be great. That would be great if I could just do the weightlifting and get beefed, but I have to. So I think I'm doing really well this cycle, and I think the reason I'm doing so well this cycle is because I've focused a lot more on my diet. I try really, really hard to reduce the amount of easy calories that I get. Like basically keep my blood sugar low so that and eat lower glycemic index foods so that my insulin response is better, and ergo I build better when I grow, right? And if I, because otherwise I just don't gain. Even when I think that I'm eating a ton. Like it's really kind of sad that like my frame just cannot support much more muscle than I have. I would say in some places, like on my legs, I don't think I could put on much more muscle than I have. It's mostly those supporting areas though where I'm weak, like especially my back. So those are areas that I could develop better. But. Good morning. Oh, Forrest, how have you been? It's been a while. It's been a couple of months, hasn't it? Back, hips, and stuff. Yeah, well, that's what's so great about Olympic weightlifting, though. I'm telling you, we go to competitions, and we get like 90-year-olds at competitions. Not even kidding. Has it only been a couple of weeks? Okay. You recenter, yeah. That's a good time to recenter. For sure, Kay. So it's been 30 minutes. I mean, if I really wanted to participate, I don't know. When I've gone back through my stats and everything, I think that I've lost more on non-farms than I've made. So I kind of tend to avoid them. A situation like this, might make me think we can extend, but I think that we've pulled back so far and everything. I'm not confident that we can. So think we just kind of sit and keep an eye on it. The thing that I'm the most interested in is where the yield curve ends up, because the yield curve has mean reverted along with everything else a little bit, but not by a whole lot. So we may yet see the yield curve get even steeper. Well, the PMI, yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's do our pull this over here. Ba-dum-ba-dum. Okay, non-farms lower than expected. And then what are the other news events that we've got today? ISM services. So I don't think that it's gonna have like as big of a move as non-farms per se, but it is going to be an impactful. So I would rate a PMI right now as like an A tier data release, whereas non-farms is an S tier, right? So it's still going to be an important number. We do have Fed speakers late in the day. Friday flows tend to end early. Always got to remember that one. So that is actually relatively mild amounts of various flows that we have to keep track of today relative to what it's been earlier in the week. But I do think that the liquidity is going to be pretty light and slippery after the PMIs. So it's not unreasonable for the PMIs to come out and do something like slam the treasuries the other way or slam them to new highs. It's within the range of possibility, for sure. Yeah. Right now, for my weightlifting though, I need to I think I need to work on my core. Core as the thing that I think is the most like behind. And I guess maybe my traps, because that shouldn't have happened with my traps. I thought that I was pretty good on that. Show us the guns? No, I have terrible. You can't even see. You won't even be able to really see a whole lot with my my biceps. I don't have impressive biceps. I wish I could show you the legs. The legs are pretty cut, but they're not big. They're not big. I just don't get big. I guess if I went through a bodybuilding cycle or two, I could probably get, you know, some size going on me that would be impressive, but I don't think I'm ever going to do that. So. It's kind of a weird thing to put so much effort into something and not get a whole lot out of it, you know? Like with the amount that I work out, I should be like just absolutely gorgeous, jacked and everything, but it's just not my genetics. Probably, that's why I say, I wonder if I would be a good marathon runner. Like if I could actually learn to run efficiently, because my feet kind of turn out like, you know, sideways like a duck. I wonder if I fixed that, if I would be good at running. Because that seems to me more like what my frame is built to do. I've got, you know, more thin and long bones, lighter frame overall. That should mean easier to run, I think. But I don't really like running, so. And I don't really want to, you know, the running can conflict with the weightlifting, so. A big order there at 29, kind of following them down. That's interesting. I haven't gotten any big orders on my DOMs. Do I have those ones down there set up wrong? Maybe I have the threshold set too high, but I think I'll leave them like that for a week and see how it goes for a week. You know, I don't know what happened, why these disappeared yesterday, so. Super weird. Super weird. Zoom out here on the dollar. The dollar's still waving around here a bit, huh? Oh, no, you know what we should do is we should go and check Zero Hedge and see if they've got good, okay, yes. Ahead of today's payroll report in our preview, we said that while we knew we would get a slowdown, the question was, how big would it be? And before that, we also asked if Yellen had leaked the weaker number to Japan ahead of their multiple interventions this week to prevent them from wasting tens of billions in intervention dry capital for nothing. Oh, that. Okay, so I didn't get the chance to read that, and that is a very interesting point. That if the payroll number had been really, really big, that could have really, really hurt the Bank of Japan. But now they've kind of got a little bit of an extension that helps them, and maybe they can take some profits on it even. Well, we got the answer moments ago when the BLS reported that in April, the U.S. added just 175K jobs, a nearly 50% job from the upward revised 315. Okay, so they revised it from 303 to 315. So they're not downwardly revising everything every time now. That guy at 29 wanted to get out fast. Well, look at the size that they're trading here at 30 now. They seem to be coming together here big time for whatever reason. That is actually a enormous amount of volume to trade in one spot on a non-farms. That is very curious to me. You know, like usually a 10K, usually 10K icebergs only show up on like really insane trend days and like auction days and not non-farm economic news days. This is a little weird. Okay. So anyways, they revised previous month from 303 to 315. And this is the lowest print since October of 2023 and a 2 sigma miss to the estimates of 240K. In fact, as shown below, this was the biggest miss since December of 2021. As usual, prior data was net revised lower, with the change in total non-farm payroll employment for February revised down by 34,000 from 270 to 236. And while the change for March was revised up, with these revisions, employment in February and March combined is 22,000 lower than previously reported. Gotcha. Wasn't just the establishment survey. The household survey showed that in April, the U.S. added just 25K jobs, a huge drop from the 498K in March. Wow. Which means that the already record divergence between the number of people employed and those who have jobs expanded by another 150K. The way that they explain that is super confusing, but what they're basically saying is like the number of people employed, there's the household and the establishment surveys, and they continue to diverge significantly. The weakness was pervasive, and while payrolls were a huge miss, the unemployment rate also rose more than expected from 3.8% to 3.9%, the highest since January 2022 versus estimates of an unchanged print. The unemployment rate, well, let's not go into all the demographics ones because that's just like reading a bunch of numbers to you that probably, you know, just kind of make your face glaze over. Do they have something for like foreign-born workers? Because that's kind of one of the big things is that we've been, you know, a lot of the growth has probably been coming from immigration. Doesn't look like we have that. Iran offers free scholarships to U.S. students. Are you kidding me? Okay. Let's see here. What's Jason Furman saying? Overall, this leaves jobs well above pre-pandemic forecasts. Perhaps the most important data point in this report for the Fed was average hourly earnings. They're up at a 2.8% annual rate over the last 3 months. Some of that is almost certainly noise. The 6-month annualized rate of 3.8% is probably closer to the truth, still down from the ECI. Overall, the markets are liking what they're seeing, and I don't blame them. There is nothing in this report weak enough to motivate rate cuts for the sake of the employment mandate, but it is a little drop in the direction of getting closer on the inflation mandate. That said, absent 2 bad job reports in a row, I still don't see how the Fed will be measured enough about inflation to cut before its December meeting, but we'll see. More importantly, lots of people have jobs, and that is looking a tiny bit more sustainable. It's a very interesting. You know, I think that the Fed's job over the last, what is it? It's May now. So over the last 5 months has gotten harder, but this data point helps them considerably. I'm still concerned about the next 2 or 3 CPI reports. Who knows what CPI will be next week? If I was a betting man, though, I think that at the moment that I would have to go for maybe CPI, you know, backing off a little bit. Maybe being more like in line with expectations and whatnot. I think that the market risk on play makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, if I was sitting on, I had already deployed some of the money in my IRA at levels a little bit lower than here, because I was just going off with the flows. Like, okay, here was the week buyback period, and now that once that was over, I got back in. So for me, it's good. But I could totally see other money managers deciding, okay, now I'm going to put more money back to work in the market. Like, so let's go back to a bigger chart. Is that enough to push us back towards all-time highs? Maybe. Maybe. Whee! Could it do that? I guess. But again, there's still CPI. CPI could you know, I'm not going to say that it could make the market, but it could certainly break the market. The CPI could, so gotta keep an eye on that one. I think the concern is still, okay, so like, we have been seeing the numbers kind of come down. Oh, we need to switch back over to here. We are seeing the numbers come back down. Business activity is slowing. Or let's say decline. Should we say slowing, declining? Yeah. Words. That doesn't necessarily mean that we'll have like negative GDP prints or anything like that, but it does look like that business activity is kind of evening off. And so then the question is why? Well, I think the default theory is that we had really strong growth last year that was not going to be sustained. And so we're just kind of reverting back to a more sustainable level. That makes a lot of sense. But there is a lot of things within the PMIs kind of suggesting price pressures. And the last few CPI reports haven't been good either. So there's another case to be made that part of why the business activity is slowing is because prices are too high and people can't afford it anymore. Like they finally ran out of savings. Businesses finally ran out of, you know, willpower money to continue paying for high prices. So you see business activity decline overall. And that in and of itself is not necessarily like a doomsday signal or anything like that. But if that is the case, that is something that can spiral out of control really quickly, right? Especially when you look at it and you say, well, if the Federal Reserve can't cut interest rates, then that's a problem. Because there are some areas of the economy out there that are really hurting from, like the housing in particular, really hurting from the high interest rates. So they kind of want to normalize those interest rates really badly. Sony's bid for Paramount considered serious by a special committee. We're really going to allow them to buy Paramount? Okay. You know what? That reminds me. I saw this thing this morning and I didn't really have the chance to read into it, but apparently Helldivers, which has kind of been the big game as of recent, and they are published by Sony. And I read this thing. Yes, that basically you are required to link your account to a Sony account now. Even if you're on PC, apparently. Even if you're on a PC, you have to have a PlayStation account. Because do you have to... Oh, let's see here. Yep. And gamers are like super pissed about it. You don't have to pay for that, do you? Right? There's like there's probably like a free, and then there's probably like a PlayStation Plus or something. Yeah, here's the post. Look at the post on Reddit. Good grief. So that was posted 12 hours ago. So it was posted at like 7 o'clock at night, my time. And 4.8 thousand comments and 10K upvotes. They're so mad. I wonder if I made an account when I started this. I don't know. They don't like Sony as a company, and Sony's been hacked a bunch of... Yeah. So a part of that depends on what data I have to give them. Like, I'm guessing the worst that I would have to give them is my phone number, right? Sony has been losing their love for a short time now. For example, unlike PS4 where you can customize background and tones, PlayStation will not let you get away from the forced ads on all screens. It's also about their arbitrary and very progressive community guidelines. Oh, really? Well, yeah, because there's that whole thing about they did end up censoring Stellar Blade. I'm tired of having to make secondary accounts to play. Me too. Me too. No, so this is one of those things. It's really hard in these situations because the internet and Reddit in particular, I feel will like grab one narrative and just push it super, super hard. And I've often come in to find that the reality is not what they portray it. So, like, first thing is that Reddit's going to be like, oh, this is an absolutely terrible move and it's going to kill the game and yada, yada, yada. Well, I don't know. If all I have to do is just make an account with my email address over there, that's not the end of the world to me. And I'm sure that a lot of people enjoy playing the game enough that, you know, they'll register an account. As long as I don't have to link my credit card to it, I'm probably okay with it, right? But they're saying, oh, that Sony just wants your data. But I think that what it is that in order for them to like ban people, they, you know, it's hard for them to keep people banned without the Sony accounts, is my guess. Like if you have the Sony accounts, then you get all of the resources from the contractors and stuff that Sony pays to handle these sorts of things. And so they would better be able to deal with hacking and griefing and whatnot if everybody had the Sony account. That's what they're saying, and that makes sense to me. Kind of thing used to never be an issue. If you're banned, you're banned. Yeah, and I don't think that like having an account makes it easier for them to prevent you from like creating multiple accounts. That would be maybe the case if you had to pay to create an account, but it's probably that in order to get, like, they only have so many resources, right? Like they're a small development team and they don't have hundreds of employees to constantly go through and read reports and ban people, right? But Sony does. So what they're saying is you have to have the Sony accounts for us to use that Sony resource. That's what it is, I think. Gave them the benefit of the doubt with the super invasive. I absolutely despise the super invasive anti-cheat too. I don't even know. I maybe already have a Sony account from when I was playing Planet Side, and maybe already linked it and forgot about it, you know? I used to have Sony Live TV on Roku. Oh, really? That's didn't know that that was ever a thing. Reddit's super pissed about it, though. They're super pissed about it. I guess that guy at 29's in ZN knew something we didn't. I don't know about that. It could be it could be that the guy that started buying at 29 is been buying this whole time and is the only reason that we're up. And so it's not necessarily that he knew something, but that he has caused it to move up. And he might be done for now. So, you know, you can get this sort of a thing where it's like somebody decides they're going to buy. So that kind of pushes it up. And then after they're done, you know, some other group comes in and pushes it lower. And so then did the guy at 29 know something? No. Because look at the cumulative delta here. Right? They continue to buy. Where's my pen? Oh, it's over here. They're continuing to buy by a good 30,000 contracts or so. Wait, what is this right here down the bottom? 90K. So it is about 33,000 contracts. And we are kind of reverting back down and coming back. So now you're not seeing that buying in the other instruments though. So, and the yield curve has kind of continued to stay where it was. So. Continues to stay there, so too early to tell. Unfortunately, by the time we can tell for sure, it'll be too late. But I come back to our flows. What do we got? Well, we got non-farms was lower than expected, and then we got ISM services. Then Fed speakers late in the day. I don't know if that'll have too much impact, and Friday flows tend to end early. So I think that probably we continue to stick around this 28 to 109 even area until the ISM services numbers, and then see where we go from there. whenever I pause, I start to go back through my head. I'm like, okay, so were there things I was keeping track of or that I need to remember? Yada. Like, well, like what was it that was giving me the dopamine earlier, right? Ah, okay. So now I'm just remembering what it was. I was on TikTok and somebody was complaining about inflation, and they're like, how is it if inflation has declined that corporations still have record profits? And I went back and forth with this guy a few times, and he just keeps saying the same thing. I'm like, do you not understand what a growth rate is? Do you not? It doesn't. What about this isn't computing? I think I'm going to have to make a TikTok video responding to him because he just doesn't seem to be getting it. Like if the price is $100 and then it changes to $105, right? That's 5% inflation, right? So then if it changes to, let's say that then after that you have 2% inflation. So what is that? 105 times 1.02, that's like 107.1. So then if it goes to 107.1, that is a 2% inflation rate. Okay, so the inflation rate declined 3%, but guess what? The price is still high. The price continues to go up. And so here's the thing. Which of these two numbers do you think that corporate profits follows? This one. Because the corporate profits are based on the absolute amount of the cost of the good, the price of the good, rather. So, guess what? Prices tend to continue to go up forever and ever. Corporate profits continue to go up forever and ever. So when people are like, oh, record profits? Like, no, duh. They should always be pretty close to record profits. Always. Because inflation. Okay, but what does change is profit margins. So if you go and you look at profit margins, that will kind of follow the inflation rate a little bit better. And you'll see that it kind of peaked in 2021 and it's maybe coming back a little bit now. Because we're seeing a little bit higher inflation again. I'm going to have to make a video explaining that because this guy just seems incredibly dense. I don't know. And thinking about it, the negative source of dopamine. Want to argue with someone. Urgh. How dare you talk to me with such ignorance? Can you bring up the cost basis? Yeah, I don't really think cost basis will necessarily be as useful in this situation, but looks like they've got it at 27 right now. The buyer cost basis, that is. These kind of like really big moves. So like if it's like we're going along and there's an unexpected news event, I expect them to come back to those levels and it's really useful in that case. But when we have like a big news release and we take off and then we're mean reverting, I'm not as confident about that line mattering. If what happened was everybody bought in here and then everything after that is just like rebalancing, then maybe, yeah, it would totally come back to that. But this is a situation where a lot of people are going to deploy new money and so forth. And so at that point, I don't think that those levels are going to be as useful for you. But we'll see. They're kind of like touching it right now. So maybe this is where they bounce again. I don't know. I'm still kind of the opinion that we stick between this 28 and 29 area until the top of the hour. But let's see. That's a lot of time. They're already kind of pushing the bottom side, so they might break out of it. Wow. Is C# superior to Java? 44 comments, but 0 karma. People didn't like that question, but they wanted to argue about it, apparently. I'm going to say yes. I think that C# and Java pretty much target the same problems and are trying to do the same thing, and C# just does it better than Java in almost every way. If the seller cost basis is dropping, could that be interpreted as sellers taking profits when the market is trading as high as it is? So which line are you talking about? You're talking about this orange line is going down? What it means to me is that the seller is not picking up inventory up here, right? So the reason why this orange, let me make it big. The reason why the orange line is going down is because cumulative delta is rising. So as we and it's not like there's a ton of flow going through here either. So like when we tick up, it's kind of like more the sellers get out of the way and let it tick up, right? So they're not taking on a lot of inventory fighting this move. And so you know, they do take profits on the bid side, right? Like the limit orders on the bid side are there. And so like their average position just kind of like slowly drifts lower. So it really kind of shows these two things diverging really kind of shows that you have a pretty strong imbalance between market orders buy and sell, right? But like I said, the issue here is that this is a situation where you're going to see a lot of market orders come into the market in both directions. You know, there are going to be fund managers and so forth doing stuff today. So that makes the lines a lot less likely to hold. Like this line really matters to anybody that's been market making through all of this, right? But it doesn't matter to the new participants that come in. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about making too big of a deal of it about it in this situation. Smaller tier news, maybe it's a bigger thing. But in non-farms, I don't know. They did kind of come like one tick short of that cost basis and bounced a little bounce. Just a little bounce. Honestly, though, sometimes I can't exactly. It's because there's a lot of different factors involved in there. Sometimes it's difficult for me to explain why the cost basis is doing what it is. You maybe would need to turn on some of those other numbers to see sometimes. Do we have 45 news that I missed? Oh yes, we have the S&P services number. Okay. So they are pulling pretty decently for that. Let's see what we're gonna get here. Higher than forecast 51.3, so still positive over there in this US S&P services PMI. Now remember that that one is kind of like a B or a C tier, right? Like the ISM PMIs are a lot more important. What are we expecting for the ISM? For the ISM, we're expecting 52. If those services PMIs were like below 50, then that would start to be like a big deal. But plus there's prices paid. Prices paid is higher than the expected 55. That could be really bad for this market. You know, I keep forgetting to mention, but we are going to be on Ninja Trader's stream again at 11 Eastern time. So we're just after this stream. So after this stream, head over to the Ninja Trader stream and make sure you leave a comment in their chat, in their live chat. You got a link for that crap? What, for the cost basis? SpeculatorSeth.com. Easy peasy. Tell me about how awful my website is. We'll fix it. No, for the Ninja? You don't have, or you just want the link to their stream? Here is the link to the stream that we'll be on. I wonder if I can set up the redirect over here, or if that's still kind of like difficult to do. Now, I think they have to add me as a friend on YouTube. I'll ask them to do that. Ah. Yeah, you're right. The person they're talking right now has an RSI on like a 5-minute chart. Okay. RSI does do a pretty good job of getting you like better risk reward trades, I guess. You know, I think it's so weird. Like, I'm not going to say there's nothing to technical analysis. It's just, doesn't work the way that everybody says it does, right? So like RSI, holy crap. My new squawk just needs to turn his volume down. So I came over to the Financial Juice Discord and looking at their trading chat. I didn't hear anybody. I haven't seen anybody say anything about that the new squawk was too loud there. But the latest comment here is, unless aliens invade, spy will be green today. That's funny because TikTok sent me down the UFO rabbit hole again last night. Like, isn't it kind of funny that like that would be like a not crazy scenario right now? Well, actually, it is a crazy scenario, but you know, there are some people that think it could happen. Do I remember? No, I don't. I don't think I've ever seen anybody here in chat with that name or profile at all, ever. Should I? Maybe you can jog my memory a little bit. I don't know. Let's see if I can trigger his sense of narcissism enough to. Hey, they did bust through 28 there. I'm starting to wonder. I'm seeing a little bit of selling. We have seen an awful lot of front-running economic reports today, or lately, not today, but you know, over the past few months. And so it's kind of making me wonder if people are betting that something in the ISM Services PMI report that's coming up in 7 minutes is going to be bad. Octavius is going short for 20. You're really gonna hold it through the news? Can you can, but you don't need to. I always feel bad when people give me a super thanks because, you know, I don't know if I really deserve it. Like, well, it's not that I don't really deserve it. I think we have really awesome content. But it's like, you know, it's $1 I don't need, is I guess what I would say. So like, if you appreciate the channel and you want to show your appreciation, the best thing that you can do is just like the video and go to the other videos and like those videos and leave a comment. And I would rather you do that than give me $1 with super thanks. Or, you know, we're going to be on the Ninja Trader stream at 9 o'clock. So in about an hour. Make sure you view us on the Ninja Trader stream and maybe leave a comment in their live chat. by the way, let's check peek a little update on our inventory cost basis. They kind of came a little bit short of it, and now they've kind of traded through it twice. So, I don't know. In a day like today, clearly there's more volatility than there usually is, right? Like these swings are like 6 to 10 tick swings. So maybe that means that you kind of have to increase make your line a little bit more fuzzy. But that just kind of goes back into, I don't know if in this situation that line is as useful. Because the existing market maker positioning is not as important when you're in a situation where there's likely to be a lot more participants coming in throughout the day. Of course, it is a Friday, so like probably we get this ISM and we get a little flurry of activity off of that, and then it probably dies down real quickly. That's what tends to happen on a Friday, unless it's a trend day. Do you profitable sometimes? I think that answer made about as much sense as the question did. What is that emoji supposed to be an emoji of? Is that like a person with a visor with a question mark on it? Haven't seen that before. Oh, I was just checking some of these charts. Look at the Japanese yen. That looks super crazy in the Japanese yen, doesn't it? Yes, sir. How many times take you for profitable? All the times. All the times. Now, I don't think that I had my first profitable year until it had been more than 4 years, I think. I don't know. That's the issue, is that profitable is too vague of a term, right? Like in my mind, for me to really say I am a profitable trader, that to me means I've been profitable 5 years in a row. That's not the case. So I guess I wouldn't consider myself profitable from that respect. But like most people, it's like, have you been profitable for a few months or a year? Yes. But it's always changing, and it depends on how well I know that market. Okay, we're about to get the ISM number here in about 20 seconds. Japan's Finance Minister Suzuki declines to comment on current FX levels. Okay. Ooh, wow. It is below 50. But okay, that's just bad. This is going to be very confusing though, okay? ISM services PMI 49.4 versus an expected 52. So below 50, that is a contraction in business activity. Not good. But then prices paid 59.2 versus an expected 55. So we, in services, as we did with manufacturing, see more price pressure. So the market there was like when the data hit kind of move that I don't know if it made sense, but then they seemed to buy it up and they got about as high. Well, I wish I had reset things. Let's reset things again. It looks like they made it as far as 03 on this upside and then quickly came back down. But my read is that this is another data point that is reading stagflationary. That doesn't mean that we are in stagflation like like we were in the 70s, as we're nowhere close to that. Like the economy is still looking pretty good, but that is lower business activity and higher prices. It's not a good thing. It makes the Federal Reserve's job harder and kind of is like a little warning, like, okay, yeah, that employment report, that kind of helps. But, there's still the inflation question out there. And so that means until we start to see CPI reports that are a little bit better, you got to be super cautious, right? So all that said, they haven't moved too much. This seems tradable. Like, you're getting a bit of volatility here. I don't like my probabilities here. I think that it's a short. But the chances of, me taking heat on it, I don't like it. So I think I will hold off on taking any kind of a sim trade on it, or a live trade even. Right by 4.5. That's interesting. Okay, well look, there's the down move right there. Oh, I feel a little bit better about it now. Let's just hold off. Let's just see what it does. I'll keep myself unattached here. It does look like they kind of left a hole behind themselves that they're falling back into. So it's a little bit of a rough, bumpy ride if we are going to move down. The S&P 500, though, they seem to just be reading this as objectively negative. So, okay, there's another shove down. And I am seeing the dollar start to rise again. And is the Japanese yen getting hammered from this too? It's not too bad. What I see in the Japanese yen is a much more clear spike up and then reversion. But I guess you could say that that's what we're seeing in the treasuries too. Because we were around 26 when that news came out. So my news quack is saying, oh, yields, fell further, but I kind of don't see it that way. Kind of looks like they kind of shoved both ways, weren't able to break out of the bottom of this range yet. Okay, there you go. Now it looks like it might be breaking down. That spot right there. Let's see if I'm fast enough here. Okay. I don't know. I think if they slip through there, they might slip really quickly and I won't get a fill. You sold 29 and 27? Wow. Good job. Good job. Oh, hey, I did get a fill. That wasn't too bad. Would have preferred for them to have already traded 20. Okay, there we go. I feel like I should be able to get that better than that. Okay. I'm getting maybe a little bit of signs of liquidity hole, but okay. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say it's a little bit too early, so. You want 21? Doesn't seem unreasonable. That last little fall though was a little too quick, don't you think? Like, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. I'm kind of wondering if it takes 24 again, if I should put another contract on there or not. I think I should let it. I built myself up a little bit of buffer room. I would love for my buffer, like 29 would be a great positioning, right? That way, if it does come back to let's say 24, 25, no big deal, right? Octavius is in the clear. I'm still a little pressured here. Now buyer cost base is dropping and sellers spiking. No, it looks like it rose to me. No? So you can see here, sellers picked up a little bit more inventory up here on this move, and the cost basis came up a little bit. Does kind of look like it's saying to me that that last little drop was a little too quick. Zoom out a little bit more. Well, I guess it's dropped from like much earlier levels. I guess it's down from here, yes. That's the thing, is like you see cumulative delta moved up, cost basis kind of moved down here. Now that cumulative delta is starting to go down, the cost basis is coming up a little bit. Because it's basically saying shorts weren't picking up inventory up here, but now they are. One of the things you can do, so I don't like to do this because then you have to add the indicator twice. But like here in the inventory cost basis settings, do I have the right screen up? Yes, I do. There's like this inventory long and inventory short, right? So you could add those on there, and then you would explicitly see that like the amount of inventory that the longs or the shorts potentially have on is increasing or decreasing. I should probably do something so that when you add it twice, it can use the first data structure. It like makes a singleton or something. Okay. Back towards the bottom end of the range. Not busting out again yet. Doesn't quite look finished to me, though. Okay. Well, they bust... You know, all of the bids just, like, evaporated there. They didn't actually make a new low, but the bids just evaporated those last two ticks. Okay, okay. Ooh, 5K just traded there at 21, and I finally got my first big iceberg to show up for ZN over here. I don't have the alerts turned on, so I should block trade alert. There we go. I just got like a notification on my phone, and I'm like, what's that? Oh, Instagram misses me. Screw you, Instagram. So what it does is it's like, oh, they haven't used me in a few days. Let's just try giving them a notification. Oh, you know what? I think I actually am getting those block trades, and it's just that I have the display duration set to be 10 instead of 0. That's what it is. I want those to never disappear, so... Jeez. So when the cell comes through, it just... And that makes me wonder what it's looking like over there in the yen. So, going to Zero Hedge's latest conspiracy theory that Janet Yellen knew what the non-farms payroll was going to be and told the Japanese. You think that she should have told them what the ISM services PMI prices paid was going to be too? Eek. I can see Kishida over there. Is that his name? I can't remember, but I can just be him over there be like, "Curse you, Yellen!" Curse you, Yellen. That's not how Japanese people speak, is it? You need to go watch that South Park episode, how they do it. Do it the way that they do it. r/futurology says humans now share the web equally with bots. Report warns amid fears of the dead internet. Sites such as Twitter/X have been overrun by automated accounts. You know it's coming, right? You know it's coming where there's like some sort of government-sponsored verification system to guarantee that you're a human and that you can't create multiple accounts. I really think it's inevitable. Automated accounts on Twitter are pretty obvious, though. That's true. Like, the robots are definitely out there, but like they're constantly being deleted, and I don't know how much of that. Like, if you look at all of the activity overall, then, or all of the users overall, then maybe it's 50%. But what percentage of the activity that you as a user actually see? It's probably not major. I would hope that it's not, but that's kind of the question. I don't know if we actually know. Like, maybe some of the bots are really good and we don't notice that they're bots. It's not like your huge influencers are all bots. Yeah, maybe I've already replaced myself with the ChatGPT and you guys just haven't noticed yet. It could be. That whole project I've been talking about where we're going to have live transcription going and then the robot can, like, you know, make an AI that can just run the stream. Maybe I already did it. How many ticks are you trying to get? I don't know. There's Octavius's 20. You couldn't make it ChatGPT as cringe and Reddit brain as you. I don't know, Uzi. I kind of think that if you took every transcript from my YouTube live streams ever and fed it into a ChatGPT, I think it could probably duplicate me really well. Especially, you know, when we go into, oh, but this brings me to the square root law, and then it could go into, because when I ask ChatGPT to tell me things and do it in as though they're speculator Seth, it does it. It knows me somehow. They must already have YouTube in them, right? Should we ask them a question? Let's try it. Chat.openai. Analyze the recent ISM services PMI numbers that had lower than that had below 50 PMIs, but higher, but high prices paid. Answer as though you are speculator Seth. Let's see if it will do it. ChatGPT-4, you can do it. You can do it, GPT-4. The recent ISM services PMI numbers indicate that the sector is experiencing mixed signals with slight growth but underlying concerns. As of March 2024, the services PMI registered 51.4, down 52.6 in February, so it's giving me old data, indicating a slower rate of growth. The key factors contributing to this slowdown include a decrease in new orders and business activity, although they continue to grow but at a reduced pace. Despite general expansion indicated by PMI above 50, the employment index continued to contract at 48.5, reflecting challenges in the labor market. It's not saying it as though it's me. There we go. It's gonna try it. It's gonna try it now. Hey, folks, Speculator Seth here on today's live stream, diving into the latest ISM services PMI data. We're looking at some intriguing figures for March 2024. I don't know if I would ever use the word intriguing. I'm kind of sitting here like reading that, and I'm like, I should use the word intriguing. You know, with the PMI slipping a bit. Now the juicier part. No, it's just reading it as though it's a live stream and not actually me. If it was reading it as though it was me, it should be going into, okay, now here's the square root law. Yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Right? Keep these insights in mind as you navigate the markets or plan your next business move. Stay sharp, and let's catch up on these trends in our next update. Happy trading, everyone. Yeah, I would never say happy trading, everyone. Okay, you know what? I was wrong. GPT-4 doesn't have it. Do you know who Speculator Seth is? Question mark. I'm not familiar with that individual. The original GPT knew. OpenAI, why do you keep making your AI worse? Wait, maybe GPT 3.5 knows. Do you know who Speculator Seth is? No. I don't have specific information about them. Why do you suck so much, GPT? Maybe GPT-2 would have it. I wonder if OpenAI was forced to remove certain data. Because I have definitely asked it questions in the past about myself, and it like knew who I was, and I was really shocked. But I keep reading these things about how researchers are saying oh, you know, it seems like ChatGPT has gotten worse and we don't know why and all. And that makes me think like they've taken some data out of it. By the way, the sell side cost basis is at 17, but I am waiting for cumulative delta to come all the way out. I am getting a potential profit taking spot here at 20 though. Like it's kind of traded around that a few times now. It did it. It kind of floated back up. It's kind of pushing again. It looks fairly free to move at this time. It may be rebounding though. I don't know. I've been doing pretty good with these sim trades since CN. I'm kind of starting to wonder. Maybe I really should have just been taking all of these on live trades because... Okay. So now it's really giving me a clear liquidity hole signal at 20.5. That kind of makes me think that, because it's a Friday, right? That kind of like ends early, so... Yes, you should. Yeah. I don't know. So like this one, the reason I took it on sim was just because, you know, I expect some volatility and unlike there'd be some risk involved in it. And I don't want to lose like 20 or 30 bucks on it. But I definitely would have made 20 on that. And I don't think that I would have had very much heat in that instance. So... I'm probably being too cautious. It kind of makes me wonder sometimes if maybe I'm selecting the opposite way that I should. Like maybe some of these situations where I'm a little bit, you know, nervous about it, are actually the ones where, you know, I should, and the ones where I feel really confident are the ones that I should be avoiding. Because my hit rate on these sim trades is a lot better. Actually, the hit rate that I'm getting on these sim trades is not normal though. So, and maybe a significant portion of it is the multiple contracts thing. Okay, they did tick up 2 ticks there. Interesting. Well, today is not disappointed, has it? Getting a move the other way from the non-farms. I don't know. Oftentimes, non-farms will end up doing things that don't make a lot of sense, but seems pretty standard right now. Oh, Fed Goolsby is speaking right now? I did not see that on the calendar. Let me double check here. Oh, no, we did have Goolsby right there. He's speaking later today as well. Gotta keep in mind, though, that Goolsby is Dove. You think he's such a political hack? I'm not necessarily going to call him a political hack, but he's a Dove. He's a Dove for sure. Let's add him in here. Goolsby, Dove. Let's put it this way. Goolsby is about as politically motivated as you could get before I would be like, you know, any worse than him, and I really don't think they should be on the Federal Reserve. Like he's just within my overton window of like, okay, it seems like that's an okay guy to have in there. I wonder sometimes how would things be if the guys that Trump wanted to put in there were in there now. You seen this story where there's like a proposal, I guess, on the Trump side that would basically make it so that like they had to consult with him first before they could raise rates or something like that. I'm gonna, you know, go for the benefit of the doubt and guess that that's just some crazy policymaker over there that doesn't really understand what's going on, and that there's no chance of that ever actually being able to happen and be made law. But I tell you what, it's become a much more political thing than it was, for sure. The composition of the board, like the nominees, are more political than they were. The way that people talk about the interest rate decisions is more political than it was. I heard Podesta. What? I cannot imagine John Podesta being on the Federal Reserve Board. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be making that up. You've got to be making that up. Okay, it looks like they are continuing. Maybe I could have left that on. I'm a little bit concerned, though, still about 20 becoming a liquidity hole, which I'm kind of looking at it. I'm curious as to why Octavius picked that price, because when it went through it the first time, I was like, I think they can keep going. We're getting into the cumulative delta levels where I wanted to take profits. But I ultimately took it because I was worried about the signs of liquidity hole that I was getting at 20, which just meant, you know, it's going to stick here until the end of the session and yada, yada, yada. I don't want to mess with that. So. It really super bothers me, though. That my point of what I was talking about earlier is it really super bothers me that I see Republicans kind of trying to insert the politics into the Federal Reserve more. I like both sides are doing it, but it's disturbing to me hearing that come out of a campaign, even though I don't think it's going to happen. I would have thought that what I view as a conservative would fight vehemently to maintain Federal Reserve's independence from politics. So to hear those kind of political, you know, promoting more political control over the Federal Reserve is very unconservative and very disturbing to me. Okay, Goolsby thinks Fed policy is restrictive. Surprise, surprise. What? I shouldn't browse Reddit while we're doing the stream and it gets quiet. Okay, from r/UFOs, J. Alberto with Jamie Mouseman from Mexico claims to have in his possession a head of a 26-foot being and a UFO crash retrieval video from the 90s. I'm going to go ahead and say press F to doubt that one. So release it, right? Yeah. So why aren't you releasing it? There's 20 again. The liquidity whole effect is really there. I kind of am still seeing signs of a like meta order short, but I think that the probability is that it's not going to get measurably below 20 before the stream ends. Maybe later it continues to move down. They could always surprise me, though. They could always surprise me, and then I get to feel FOMO. You know what, FOMO? I feel like it does. Has this happened to anybody else? Am I crazy? I kind of feel like my relationship with FOMO is kind of like changed, because I used to feel really bad, and I really wanted to get in, and I wanted to get FOMO. But now FOMO is kind of more like almost exhilarating that like something happened and I missed it or something, you know? Or maybe like not exhilarating, maybe it's more like relief. But it's not like I'm really mad that I missed that. I mean, I get that too, but I don't feel like that's the dominant feeling that I feel in a situation like this. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it's ambivalence. I feel two ways about it. Like, oh, I wish that I had made money on that, but then I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't care. I'm glad I missed the volatility. I'm glad I missed it. No, not on that one. I think that one was a pretty good trade. Did I have? Where's my profits window? Come on. Do I really have to open up a new one? Positions. 2 ticks against me. So not terrible, but not amazing. Are you a robot collector? Because, you know, I'm looking for a robot to pretend to be me. You know, if maybe that's not for you. If you know any unemployed robot friends, because I know employment in the robot industry right now is a little tough. You can come and pretend to be me. I mean, that's a dream. That's a dream gig for a robot. Goolsby says something about unemployment rising and that we haven't seen that yet. Today, The market, I kind of think, is taking it in stride, but I think that we got a really important data point today. This could be a major inflection point. I'm not entirely sure where it takes the markets, but today was a big change. Today was a big change. Oh, when the business cycle turns is not subtle, with credit deteriorating, unemployment rising, and we have not seen that yet. Oh, okay. We are all robot. I'm not a robot. Or am I? I don't think that you're a robot. That doesn't sound to me like something a robot would say. I could buy into that everybody else on the stream is actually just different personas that Uzi makes up. That I could buy. But but robots, I don't know. I don't know. A little too fantastic. I'm kind of liking the look of those big orders below us. Hey, don't go start realizing that I'm Uzi too. It is. They're all Uzi, except for Salim. Salim is himself, I think. I think Salim is himself. But that's maybe why he rubs Uzi the wrong way so much. It's like, how dare anybody else talk in Seth's chat, except for me and one of my alternate personalities. Police are searching for a man who stole $40K in jewelry from a St. George store and threatened an employee with an... That doesn't seem worth it. Like, I kind of feel like that if you're gonna go and commit robbery, you should get more than $40K from it for the risk. Am I wrong? Or is that a luxury belief on my part? I'm thinking if I'm gonna risk going to jail, it's got to be several millions of dollars, right? No, I would never do that. Integrity more important to me. Integrity is priceless. No amount of money would ever get me to give up my integrity. I mean, if I can keep my integrity and make money, that's where I'm gonna go, right? But I would never do something improper or say something that I believed was incorrect for money. Never. Ron Paul crashes Mike Johnson in new monologue. Okay. Are they really going to try and remove Johnson? That seems like a dumb move, but... Oh, whoa, hold up. Goolsby says, we didn't have an advanced look at those job numbers? Oh. Because this whole time I've been speculating, like, we think that they do get it sometimes, but he's saying at least this time that they didn't, and he's just like outright saying it. So I guess we should believe him, right? But that's interesting. Now brings me back to the Japanese, where it's like, okay, so maybe Yellen did know what the non-farms was going to be and told the Japanese so that they could do their buying operations and then make a little bit of money on the non-farms. But then if that was the case, she probably should have told them about the ISM services PMIs as well. But maybe she didn't realize that that was important. Oops. Kaseyo yawen. I think it would kind of work because I'm pretty sure that if South Park did it, they would say it like Yawen. You know, turn that L into a W. Yawen. Yo. Do you sometimes? You know what? I'm supposed to be streaming on Twitter too, but I always forget to turn it on. So I used to multi-stream to Twitch, but we didn't really get a whole lot of viewers from Twitch. The viewers that we did get usually either moved over to YouTube or were annoying. And it reduced the responsiveness of the stream. Like it added like a few seconds of delay. So I switched over to just only doing it on YouTube so that I could reduce the latency as much as possible. So that's why it is what it is. If we all of a sudden got like significantly more popular, you know, like if the stream was like 100 viewers a day, 100 viewers at a time every day, and then maybe on Twitch, you know, we would be getting more like a dozen or 2 dozen viewers on Twitch, then maybe it would be worth it for me to go and do it. But as it was when we were doing that, I felt that the downsides of the lower latency outweighed the benefits of maybe potentially people finding me on Twitch. And I don't really think the stream quality on Twitch is different. So there are things about, you know, like the chat and everything on Twitch is definitely better than YouTube. You know, sometimes I do wonder. I mean, there's no way. I wonder because there's no way for me to know what would happen if I only streamed on Twitch and just kind of tried to use the Twitch and the separate YouTube channels to, instead of, you know, the videos direct people to the live stream and back, but they're on the same platform and so they kind of synergize. So would I do better or worse? Would I do better because maybe I would grow better on Twitch because there's more people looking for live stream? I don't know. It's kind of... What about that guest visit? Yes. So we will end here in a bit. But we are going to be on Ninja Trader stream. And did I give you the link to that? I thought I had it. Oh, it's over here. So yes, after this stream, at the top of the hour, essentially, we will be on Ninja Trader stream. Actually, it starts up like 5 minutes after the top of the hour. So we'll go until 8:55. Yes. So we'll be over there. I would love to see you guys. If you go over there, you know, make sure you say hi in chat so I can see who came over. Or ask a question over there. I would like to see their chat be a little bit more interactive. Have a little bit of fun with you guys over there, yeah? It could be fun. Otherwise, it'll just be like, you know, boring talking about non-farms payroll report. This white background kills me. What, on YouTube? You know that there's a dark mode on YouTube, right? Do they have anything about ISM? ICC threatens action over intimidation tactics as Netanyahu's arrest warrant looms. Let's see here. Good luck, but I don't think this data will stand the test of time as helping all markets. While it's strong enough to keep any sort of economic slowdown noise very low, that noise will start increasing as non-farms payroll finally joins the list of other jobs data not moving in the right direction. I will give our analysis on that. Well, I've already kind of given you our analysis on the non-farms payroll. Oh, so you didn't have to stare at the white screen. Well, on you're talking about that he uses the white charts. I think it's Jim that he has the white charts. Yeah. But they can show my screen, and we'll still have the dark charts. Then we'll still have the dark charts, or just my face, right? So. I seriously don't get how people can do white charts. You know what I don't get is how people stand the green and red bars. Blue and orange is so much better, guys. So much better. Okay, I wanted to check here. If Zero Hedge updated their story. Looking at the composition of job gains, BLS notes that job gains occurred in healthcare, social assistance, transportation, and warehousing, offset by a big slowdown in government hiring. Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't see a change in, foreign workers, though. That's kind of what I'm interested in. I agree with the blue and orange too. Pleasant to look at, yeah. Like Jigsaw? Jigsaw is good looking. They picked good colors and stuff. Wow, that's great. You know what though? What I really want is I want everything to look like Neon Genesis Evangelion interfaces. Like all of the computer interfaces that they show in that show. Everything should just look like that. That would be tops. Like when we make if we ever make the little clock thing, we ran into Rust framework issues again, but I want it to look like Evangelion. Oh, well, it's 8:55. By the way, we were at 20, right? So that was actually a really, really good exit again. Like, suspiciously good exit. Now I'm kind of starting to wonder if I'm like Hansel, right? Like the market's trying to fatten me up, like get me all confident on the sim trades so that when I start getting aggressive with the live trades, then they come and they start slaughtering me again. Anyways, guys, I gotta get going. I will see you again in like 10 minutes on the Ninja Trader live stream. Make sure you go over there, leave a comment in their live stream chat. And if I don't see you then, I'll see you on Monday. In the meantime, stay excellent.